When people picture business grant, they usually imagine money for a machine, a piece of software, or a consultant. But some of the most valuable support in Singapore is aimed at something quieter and more lasting: the ability of the people who lead a company to lead it well. The Enterprise Leadership for Transformation program, often shortened to ELT, sits squarely in that space, helping the owners and senior leaders of small and medium businesses build the skills, the confidence, and the plans to grow and transform what they run. In the next few minutes, we will look at what ELT is, who it tends to suit, what the experience is usually like, and how it connects to the rest of your growth journey, all at the big picture level. One important note before we begin: this channel is educational only. We are not a government agency. We are not affiliated with or endorsed by Go Business Enterprise Singapore or any government body, and nothing here is official advice. Programs like this evolve over time. Their details differ from provider to provider, and eligibility changes, so we will keep to the big picture and always point you back to the official source, gobusiness.gov.sg, and to the program's own materials to confirm the current details for your situation before you rely on any of it. What ELT actually is? It helps to start with what the program really is, because the name can sound grand and abstract. Enterprise Leadership for Transformation is, at heart, a structured development program for the leaders of growing companies, built around helping them lead growth deliberately rather than by instinct alone. Instead of buying you a tool or paying for a one-off project, it invests in you, the person steering the business, and in the thinking and habits that shape where the company goes next. The idea behind it is simple and quietly powerful: that a small or medium business rarely outgrows the capability of the people running it, so strengthening leadership is one of the surest ways to unlock growth. Think of it less as a course you attend and forget, and more as a guided period of working on your business and yourself at the same time, with structure and support around you. Who it is for? The program is generally aimed at the leaders of small and medium enterprises, the owners, founders, and senior decision makers who set direction and carry responsibility for where the company is heading. It tends to suit businesses that are past the earliest scramble to survive and are now asking bigger questions. How do we grow in an orderly way? How do we build a team and processes that do not depend on one person? How do we transform before the market forces us to? If you find yourself pulled in every direction, making decisions on instinct with little time to think, and sensing that your own capacity has become the ceiling on the company, you are close to the kind of leader the program has in mind. Whether your particular business qualifies is a matter for the official criteria, which change over time. So treat this as the general spirit rather than a checklist, and confirm the specifics before you assume. Why leadership capability matters. It is worth pausing on why a grant would target leadership at all, when it could fund something more tangible. The reason is that in a small or medium business, the leader is the single biggest variable. The same market, the same product, and the same team can produce very different results depending on how clearly the person at the top sets direction, makes decisions, and builds the organization around them. Equipment can be bought and copied, but the judgment to know what to buy, when to grow, and how to bring people with you is far harder to acquire and far harder for competitors to match. Investing in that capability tends to pay off across everything the business does, not just one project. That is the logic behind a program like this, that strengthening the leader strengthens the whole company, quietly and for a long time. What the program focuses on. While the exact design varies, programs of this kind usually center on a handful of themes that matter to any growing business. Expect attention to strategy and growth, how to see where your business is heading, and plan the path deliberately. Expect work on leadership itself, how to lead a team, delegate, and build an organization that does not rest entirely on you. And expect a focus on transformation, on adapting the business model, adapting new ways of working, and preparing for change rather than reacting to it. Woven through all of it is the practical question of how to turn ideas into action inside your own company. The point is not abstract theory, it is capability you can apply to the real decisions in front of you, so that what you learn shows up in how the business actually runs. 4. Because this is about capability rather than a single purchase, the experience usually unfolds over a period of time rather than in one sitting. You can generally expect a mix of structured learning and guided application, time to step back and think about your business, and support to translate that thinking into concrete plans and actions. Rather than a lecture you passively receive, it tends to be participative, asking you to work on your own company as you go. So the growth you are learning about is growth you are actually planning. The precise format, length, and delivery differ by provider and change over time. So the shape described here is the general pattern, not a fixed itinerary. What stays constant is the intent to give busy leaders the structure and space to work on the business, not just in it. Learning alongside other leaders, one of the underrated benefits of a program like this is the room full of people in the same position. Leading a small or medium business can be quietly isolating because the hardest decisions land on one desk and there is rarely anyone inside the company to think them through with. Sitting alongside other owners and senior leaders who face the same pressures from different angles tends to be valuable in itself. You hear how others have handled the challenge you are stuck on. You test your thinking against people who understand the stakes, and you often build relationships that outlast the program. That peer dimension is not a side benefit bolted on. For many leaders, it becomes one of the most useful parts, because advice from someone who has actually run a company through the same problem carries a particular weight, turning learning into action. The real test of any leadership program is not what happens during it, but what changes afterwards. And the good ones are built with that in mind. The aim is that you leave not just with ideas, but with a clearer direction for your business, a plan you actually intend to follow, and the confidence to lead it through. That might show up as a sharper growth strategy, a decision to restructure how the team works, a transformation you had been putting off, or simply the clarity to stop doing what was holding you back. The value is realized when the learning meets your day-to-day decisions, so it helps to go in with the real challenges of your business in mind and the genuine intention to act, rather than treating it as time away from work. Approached that way, the return tends to keep compounding long after the program ends. Nadalin, Iapum Prahal and fits with other support. It also helps to see where a leadership program sits among the wider landscape of support. Much of Singapore's assistance for businesses is aimed at projects and capabilities, adopting technology, improving productivity, entering new markets, and this kind of program complements those rather than competing with them. In fact, a stronger, clearer leader is often exactly who makes the most of every other kind of support, because they know what the business needs, why, and in what order. So rather than seeing this as an either-or choice, it can be worth thinking about how developing yourself as a leader sets up the other moves you might make. As always, which schemes exist, how they interact, and which fit your situation are matters that change over time. So use the official channels to see the current picture rather than relying on a snapshot. Finding the current details. Because the specifics of any program move over time, the most useful habit is knowing where to check rather than trying to memorize details. For the current shape of this program, who it is for, and how to take part, the official starting point is gobusiness.gov.sg, along with the materials from the program itself and the providers who deliver it. Those sources will always be more accurate and more up-to-date than any summary, including this one, and they are the ones that actually govern eligibility and participation. If leadership development sounds like it could fit where your business is, treat this video as the nudge to look properly and let the official information tell you what is true right now for your particular situation. A closing thought. So here is the idea to carry away. The Enterprise Leadership for Transformation program is, at its core, a bet on the person leading the business, on the belief that stronger leadership is one of the most durable ways to grow a small or medium company. It is aimed at owners and senior leaders ready to work on their business and themselves. It usually blends structured learning with guided application and the company of other leaders, and its real value shows up in the decisions you make afterwards. Remember that everything here is general and educational. We are not a government agency and we are not affiliated with or endorsed by anyone, and the details differ by provider and change over time. So before you rely on anything, check the current information on gobusiness.gov.sg and the program's own materials, and reach out through the official channels when you are ready. If this helped make sense of what ELT is, subscribe for more plain English Singapore grant explainers, and we will keep breaking these programs down one at a time.